It's 6:18 p.m. and you're counting the cash register for the third time when the front door of the shop slams open. You look up. Two men enter. Neither of them looks at the shelves. One locks the door behind him. The other walks straight toward the counter. Your first thought is that they're here to rob the place. Your second thought is that they already know exactly who you are. Your brother isn't coming home tonight. The words stop you. You stare at him. Your brother has been missing for 6 hours. You haven't told anyone. The man places a phone on the counter. Your brother's phone. The screen lights up. One message appears. You have a choice. You look toward the back room. Your mother is there finishing the inventory. Your younger sister is waiting for you to close the shop. The man leans closer. You can call the police. He pauses. Or you can come with us. You know what the correct decision is supposed to be. You also know what happens if you make it. Your hand moves toward the phone. Not the one on the counter. Your own. The man watches. You stop. For the first time in your life, you understand that survival can become a decision you make for other people. You take the stranger's phone. And when you walk through the locked door with him, you leave your old life behind. You don't know it yet, but this is your first promotion. Not because anyone gives you a title. Because someone decides you are useful. The first lesson comes before you even meet the people who control the organization. You learn that nobody at the bottom is told the whole truth. You are driven for almost an hour without being told where you're going. When the car finally stops, you enter a building that looks ordinary from the outside. Inside, 3 men are waiting. The oldest sits at a table. He doesn't introduce himself. He asks one question. Why didn't you call the police? You could tell him the truth. Because you are afraid. Because your family is in danger. Because you don't know what else to do. Instead you say, because you already knew I wouldn't. The room goes quiet. The man looks at you for several seconds. Then he smiles. Not because you're brave. Because you understand the first rule. Information is power. And in this world, the person who knows what everyone else is afraid to say usually survives the longest. You begin at the bottom. They don't call you a soldier. They don't call you a member. You're simply someone who carries messages, watches doors, waits in cars, and does what you're told. You hate it at first. Every night, you tell yourself you're only doing enough to get your brother back. That's the story you repeat to yourself. You need something to justify every decision. The first week, you are given small responsibilities. You deliver a package without asking what's inside. You sit outside a building for 3 hours. You are told to remember a face. You are told not to speak to certain people. You learn names without learning the reasons behind them. The rules are simple. Don't ask questions you don't need answered. Don't make promises you can't keep. Don't draw attention to yourself. And never assume that silence means safety. You begin noticing how the organization works. There are layers. People at the bottom know almost nothing. People above them know slightly more. The higher you climb, the more information reaches you. But the more information you have, the more dangerous your position becomes. You start understanding why. Knowledge gives you influence. It also gives everyone a reason to fear you. Your first real test comes 3 months later. You're waiting in a vehicle when 2 people arrive unexpectedly. One of them is nervous. The other is angry. You are told to stay where you are. You don't. You step out. You don't know whether that decision saves someone or puts everyone at greater risk. You only know that the situation feels wrong. The older man looks at you. Who told you to interfere? No one. Then why did you? You think about your brother. About the first night. About the choice you made. I thought something was wrong. He studies you. Then he walks away. The next morning your position changes. You are no longer trusted with simple errands. You are trusted with people. That is the difference between being useful and being valuable. You begin spending more time around people who have been inside the organization for years. They teach you without teaching you. You watch how they speak, how they enter rooms, how they listen. You learn that the strongest person rarely raises his voice. You learn that anger is often a performance. You learn that silence can be a threat. Most importantly, you learn that loyalty is never just loyalty. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes it's family. Sometimes it's the belief that leaving would be more dangerous than staying. You tell yourself you're different. You're only here temporarily. You're waiting for your brother. You're building enough trust to get him back. Then one afternoon, someone places an envelope in front of you. Inside is a photograph. Your brother is alive. He is sitting at a table. The picture is recent. On the back is a single sentence. Keep climbing. You stare at it for a long time. You realize something has changed. Your brother is no longer being held because they want something from him. He's being held because they want something from you. You become more careful and more ambitious. Those two things begin growing together. By your first year, people know your name. Not everyone, but enough. You become a trusted runner, then a coordinator. Your responsibilities increase. You no longer simply receive instructions. You begin deciding who receives them. That feels like power. It also feels like a trap. A young recruit makes a mistake. The people above you want someone punished. They expect you to choose who takes the blame. The easiest decision is to sacrifice the recruit. He has no influence, no reputation. No one important will ask questions. You can protect yourself. You almost do. Then you remember what it feels like to be the person at the bottom. You refuse. The decision costs you. For several weeks, people stop trusting you. You are watched, tested, ignored. Then something unexpected happens. A senior member makes a serious mistake. He panics. You remain calm. You don't solve the problem with violence. You solve it by thinking. You identify what information is missing. You determine who needs to know. You determine who absolutely does not. You keep everyone focused on the same objective. The crisis passes. And suddenly, the people who ignored you begin listening. You receive your first real position. You are now responsible for a small group. 6 people. 6 lives. 6 different weaknesses. You discover that managing people is harder than managing yourself. One is reckless. One is greedy. One is frightened. One is ambitious. One is loyal to someone else. And one reminds you of the person you used to be. You begin making decisions. Some are small. Who gets trusted? Who gets moved? Who gets removed from responsibility? Who gets another chance? Then the decisions become larger. A rival organization begins applying pressure. Money disappears. A trusted person starts behaving strangely. Someone inside your group is leaking information. You are ordered to find the traitor. You spend days watching people. You begin questioning everyone, even the people who once protected you. The investigation changes you. You become suspicious of kindness. You start measuring every sentence, every pause, every unexpected phone call. You realize the organization has given you something more dangerous than power. It has taught you how to distrust everyone. Eventually, you identify the leak. Someone you know. Someone who has worked beside you for almost a year. He doesn't deny it. He tells you he did it because his family was threatened. You understand immediately. Because your own family is the reason you're still here. You have 2 choices. Follow orders. Or protect him. You choose neither. Instead, you take the information to the person above you. You tell him everything. You expect punishment. Instead, he asks you one question. What would you have done if you were him? You don't answer. You don't need to. He already knows. From that day forward, your reputation changes again. You're no longer considered loyal because you obey. You're considered loyal because you understand why people betray. That distinction moves you higher. By your 3rd year, you are no longer running errands. You are sitting in rooms where decisions are made. You hear numbers that would have sounded impossible before. Millions of dollars moving through businesses. Entire networks depending on a single decision. People whose names never appear anywhere official. You understand that the organization isn't powerful because of the people at the top. It's powerful because thousands of people beneath them keep the machine moving. Every person has a role. Every role depends on another. Remove one piece and someone notices. Remove enough pieces and the entire structure begins to shake. You become part of that structure. And for the first time, you realize something that frightens you. You are good at this. Not at hurting people. Not at breaking rules. At understanding systems. At seeing weaknesses. At predicting decisions. At knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. The qualities that once helped you survive are now making you powerful. Your brother is released after almost 3 years. You expect the moment to feel like freedom. It doesn't. He looks at you differently. He sees the person you've become. You want to tell him that everything you did was for him. But you know that's not completely true anymore. At some point, survival stopped being the only reason. You liked being trusted. You liked having influence. You liked entering a room and watching people become careful. You liked knowing things other people didn't. You don't tell him that. You simply say, "You're safe now." He looks at you. "No," he says. "You aren't." You don't respond. Because he's right. Your position keeps rising. You become a senior lieutenant. The title means nothing by itself. The responsibility does. People now come to you before making decisions. You are expected to anticipate problems before they happen. You are expected to know which alliances are weakening. You are expected to recognize threats before they become emergencies. You begin sleeping less. Your phone never leaves your hand. Every unknown number feels important. Every unexpected silence feels deliberate. You stop making plans more than a few days ahead. The organization has become your entire calendar. Your entire social circle. Your entire identity. Then the man at the top disappears. No warning. No explanation. One morning you arrive at a meeting and his chair is empty. Everyone looks at everyone else. Nobody speaks. For the first time in years, you see fear on the faces of people who taught you how to hide it. The hierarchy has lost its center. And suddenly everyone begins climbing. Some want control. Some want revenge. Some want protection. Some simply want to survive the transition. You are offered an alliance. Then another. You realize that whoever becomes the next leader will need people who understand the entire system. People like you. You could take a side. But choosing the wrong side could destroy everything you've built. You choose patience. You listen. You gather information. You allow other people to reveal their intentions before revealing yours. For weeks you remain in the middle. That is when you understand the highest level of power. You don't always need to control the decision. Sometimes you control who gets to make it. Your influence expands. People begin coming to you independently. They ask what you think. You answer carefully. You never promise. You never threaten. You simply make people believe that your decision is already inevitable. Eventually, the conflict reaches its breaking point. A former ally makes a move against you. You see it coming. You have hours to respond. You could destroy his position. But doing so would create a larger conflict. You could ignore him. But that would make you look weak. So you choose a third option. You expose enough of what he is doing that everyone around him realizes he has become a liability. No confrontation. No dramatic speech. No revenge. He simply loses the support he needs. By the end of the week he is gone. And nobody questions who caused it. That's when you become the person everyone fears most. Not because you are the most violent. Because you have learned how power actually works. You have reached the inner circle. There are fewer people now. The rooms are quieter. The decisions are heavier. You are no longer told what to do. You are asked what should happen. That difference changes everything. A decision that once affected 6 people now affects hundreds. A mistake that once cost money can now cost lives. You begin understanding the burden hidden behind every position above you. At the bottom you fear being punished. In the middle you fear making mistakes. At the top you fear making the right decision for the wrong reason. You have money now. More than you ever imagined having. You have influence. You have people willing to protect you. You have access to rooms you never knew existed. And you have almost nothing that feels like freedom. Your family doesn't know where you spend your nights. Old friends stop calling because they sense something has changed. Your brother keeps his distance. You don't blame him. Sometimes you look at photographs from before all of this. You barely recognize the person staring back. You once believed power meant having control. Now you understand that power means having responsibility for consequences you cannot always control. Then comes the final promotion. The leader asks you to sit beside him. There is no ceremony. No congratulations. He simply looks at you and says, "You're next." You stare at him. For years, this is the moment you think you want. the highest position, the final level, the place where everyone else answers to you. But when you finally see it from this close, you understand what it really is. It's not freedom. It's a chair surrounded by enemies. It's a phone that can ring at any hour. It's a network that survives only as long as people believe you can protect it. It's thousands of decisions waiting for someone to make them. You think about the night you entered this world. The shop. The cash register. Your mother in the back room. Your sister waiting for you to close. You remember believing that one decision could save your family. You were right. It did. But every decision after that created another one. You never escaped the first choice. You simply build more choices on top of it. The man across from you waits for your answer. You could say yes. You could take everything you've spent years climbing toward. Or you could walk away. You look at the empty chair. Then at the phone beside it. It rings. What? You don't move. It rings again. Everyone in the room watches you. You finally understand the real hierarchy. There is always someone above you. Even when you reach the top. The phone rings a third time. You pick it up. And when you say hello, you hear a voice you haven't heard in years. Your brother. He says your name. Then he says something that makes every other problem disappear. Someone knows what you did. The room goes silent. You close your eyes. For the first time in years, you have no immediate answer. You thought you were climbing toward the top. You never realized the higher you climbed, the more visible you became. Now the entire organization is waiting for your next decision. And somewhere outside that room, someone else is making theirs. You open your eyes. The phone is still against your ear. The chair is still in front of you. And the world you entered years ago is still moving. You finally understand. There is no final rank. There is only the next decision. And once you become powerful enough, every decision becomes someone else's reason to come for you.